Hello dear participants, I welcome you all in this lecture number 8. Title of this lecture is Introduction to SPSS. So this lecture will address following questions. Question number 1. What is SPSS? How to enter data in SPSS? How to give codes in SPSS? And how to import data in SPSS. So this lecture will try to answer all these questions. Objective of this lecture is to make you familiar with SPSS software. Now let me start with this lecture. See, there are many softwares available in the market for the research purpose. Some of the softwares I have enlisted here, and they are MATLAB, Python, eViews, SAS, Minitab, Stata. R software, R is one of the free software available online, GIS and SPSS. SPSS is one of the user-friendly software heavily used by many researchers, and this course will be dealing with this software. Now, the full-length name of the SPSS is Statistical Package for Social Sciences, and this SPSS will be dealing with, it will be handling three things. First, data entry. Next, it will explain us that how can we give statistical treatment, and it will provide us with some outcomes or results. And the third part, that is interpretation and meaning of the result, and this is more actually associated with the researcher. Fine. Now what we are going to learn in the data entry? In data entry, we are going to learn how to enter the data and how to arrange the data. So for statistical treatment and outcome is concerned, we are going to learn the process to apply statistical technique and how to read results. So reading result is also a very important part. And finally, in interpretation and meaning of the result, we are going to learn that how to interpret results and how to give meaning to those results. Fine. So far SPSS is concerned, these two parts, data entry and statistical treatment and outcome, they are directly associated with SPSS. They are directly associated with SPSS, and this interpretation and meaning of the result is actually associated with your self-understanding of your own research topic. For data entry, it takes few time, but for statistical treatment, it takes very less time. It takes few seconds only. It takes few minutes only. Fine. And this is the simplest part, data entry and statistical treatment and outcome. The whole procedure part is easy part. Difficult part is this one, interpretation and giving meaning to the result. So in this course, we'll deal with all this part. First, we'll learn that how can we enter the data. Then we'll learn that what is the procedure to give statistical treatment. Then we'll see that how to read the data results, how to read the results outcomes, and then we'll also try that how can we give exact or approximate or correct meaning to those results. Fine. So what are the prerequisites before going into SPSS? They are enlisted here. Researcher should know the meaning of data and variables. Researcher should know the meaning of statistical techniques, and these two parts, data and variable, types of data, types of variable, already we have seen in the previous lecture. Meaning of statistical techniques and types of different statistical techniques, that part also now we all are familiar with. Fine, this part already we have covered in the previous lectures. Familiarity with MS Excel, that researcher should be familiar with MS Excel. That researcher should be familiar with SPSS. That researcher should know that what is the process to apply statistics in SPSS. Then there should be clarity of our own research topic, and there should be clarity of research variables used in own research. So these are the prerequisites, out of which that many prerequisites are going to be covered here in this course. All these prerequisites that will take care of here in this course, but for the remaining two prerequisites, actually they are associated with you and they depends on your own understanding. Fine. Now let me take you all to the slide, and fine, how to get demo copy of SPSS. Many times we all means some of the participants are not having the copy of SPSS, then how to get the demo copy, trial copy? For that, simply you will have to go to Google, simply type here IBM SPSS trial version, and this one is the authentic website, ibm.com. Fine. Simply you should click here on this, and a new window appears, and here is a try SPSS statistics for free. You will have to click on this, then new window appears, and here you will have to fill your data, all your information like email, first name, last name, password, and other things. And moreover, further, they will ask you some additional information. They will verify your email, and once the verification is over, they will take you to the download thing. Fine, it takes only few minutes. Fine, it will take only few minutes. So that is the way that we can get some means we can get that trial version. That trial version is valid up to 1 month only. Fine. So let me take you all to the structure of SPSS. Basic structure of the SPSS. SPSS file is actually organized by cases, that is rows, and variables, that is columns. Fine. All rows, they represent the respondent or the number of observation, and all columns they represent the variables chosen. And as all we know that there are three different types of the variables like nominal, ordinal, and scale. In this whole course, these three terminologies will use very frequently, because this is the base. On this base will be only analyzing our data. Fine. Variables represent each question asked in a survey or collected secondary data. Fine. Now let me take you to the first image when we open SPSS. When we open SPSS software, it looks like this, and in this, these are the columns, and here you can see that VAR. What does that mean? VAR is nothing but they are the variables. And here on the left hand side, 1, 2, 3, 4, they are rows. They are same like MS Excel, and they are the respondents. Fine. Now on the left hand side corner here on the down side, there are two tabs. One is data view. Here it shows you the data, entered data, and other is variable view. They are like sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3 in MS Excel, but those sheets are different. Their characteristics are same. If you go to sheet 1 and if you go to sheet 2, you will find the same pattern, same things. But here in the SPSS, it is not like that. If you go to data view will show you the data. But if you click on data variable view, and if I go to variable view will show the features and other details of each variable. So variable view is a part where we are going to define our variable. And how to define our variable and what is the meaning of this, that we are going to deal with here in this lecture. Fine. Now let me take you to the further slide. How to enter data in SPSS? There are two ways. First, you can directly enter your data using your hands. Manually we can enter the data in SPSS. Other part is import the data, importing data from MS Excel. Most of times researcher usually initially enter his data in MS Excel. Let me go back. Just fine. Usually researcher types his data in MS Excel first, and then we import data in SPSS usually. But we are going to understand that how can we enter data directly first, and then we'll see that how can we import data from MS Excel. Now let me take you to the manual data entry in SPSS, and for that we'll have to open SPSS. So once we open this SPSS, then I'll go to variable view here. I'll click on variable view, and I'll go to this segment or this part of the SPSS. Now here we are going to define our variable. What we are going to do here, what type of thing that we are going to do here, that is we are going to define our variables. Fine. And as all you know, there are three types of the variables that already we have mentioned that nominal, ordinal and scale. So let me first take nominal. Fine. So first nominal that I will take is the gender. Now here simply you will have to type the variable name. Now here you should take some care. What type of care you should take? When you are typing name, title of variable here, don't start with number. Don't start with numbers 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, serial number, or don't give space. Space is not allowed here. Space is not allowed here. Without space. There are some protocols, there are some rules. Detail name you can write here. Gender of the respondent, giving some gap. Fine, that's fine here. But here, when we are mentioning here name, you should not use space, you should not use numbers. Initially, you cannot use number, you can give number later. Fine, but the space should be avoided here. Otherwise, it will not consider that variable. Fine. So once I type the variable name, then I'll go to the other part. See, here are different things like name is there, type, width, decimal, label, values. There are many things. And this is the thing that we call, we are defining our variable. We are deciding what type of variable it is, what is the width, what are the values. This will be associated with course, alignment, whether you want that number or that thing on the left side corner or the right side corner or in the mid, and there are many things. So defining variable means we are here framing our variable. Fine. Now let me take you all to the type. Now once I typed gender, then I'll go to type. Here are the three dots. I'll click on this. There are different types of the variable that SPSS considers, but so far this course is concerned, we'll be more interested in this numeric type of variable and string type of variable. Now for, I'll make it simple. String are nothing but they are the qualitative variable, qualitative or alphabetical, which variables are in words actually, which variables are the basic characteristics of this variable is qualitative. Fine. And the numeric one. So in this course we'll be dealing with this and this only. So for here gender is concerned, we'll click on string and then I'll click on OK. So I'm going to click here on OK. Then I'll go to width. Width is nothing but that is the how many alphabets you are using. So SPSS has allowed us to use 8 alphabets. Now if I'm writing female, FEMALE, I'm going to use 6 alphabets actually. So you can increase or decrease using these arrows. So this is not a very difficult part. Then I'll go to decimal. Decimal is actually associated with the numbers. If I am asking someone, my respondent, that how much is your height, and if they are saying 5 feet 7 inch, then 5.7, when I'm going to write that thing, I'll have to choose here 1 decimal, because 5.7 after point there is one number. If I am giving 2 decimal, then it will come like 5.07 or 70, whatever it is. So that is the meaning of decimal. Here decimal is not actually associated with this nominal type of data, so we'll skip this part. I'll go to the label. What is label? Label is the detailed question which you have asked using your questionnaire or interview schedule, or the complete name, gender of the respondent. You can put your questions here. The complete questions you can write, no problem. Here you can give space, you can do anything. Fine. Then I'll go further, that is values, and this is the most important part in the SPSS. See, in the previous lecture we have studied that how can we give codes. Now how to give codes here in the SPSS? Simply using this menu values. Now gender is my variable. I'll click here on these 3 dots. As I click on these 3 dots, new pop-up window appears here, and here we are going to define our variable. How we are going to define? Here in the values, I'll put some number. Say that I have put here 1. So 1 is the code that I have assigned to male. Then I'll have to click here on the add. As I click on the add, it gets added here. Then I have defined female. I have assigned some number to female. I'm coding data. Then I'll click on add. Then I'll go further and I'll add transgender also using the same process. Fine. So this is the way that we go with the coding in SPSS. Now suppose if I want to remove one transgender because I have collected my data, and after the collection of data, even male, female and transgender are mentioned in my questionnaire or interview schedule. But when I collected my data, I came across that fine, I got the responses, few responses from male and the remaining responses from female, and there is no transgender in my response. Then there is really no need to keep that part here in this coding part. Okay. So what I'll do, simply I'll click here on transgender. Automatically here it get activated, remove button. So simply I click on remove. As I click on remove, it get removed. Suppose if I want to give different, if suppose I want to assign different number, I just want to make some changes, then simply I'll click on this thing. Suppose I want to assign different number for male, then I'll go back here and I'll press 0. I'll give different value, then I'll go here and press on change. Fine. Now as I press on change, it gets changed. The same thing I'll do with the female. For the female, here I have changed the value. Previously it was 2. Now I have placed 1. Then I'll press here change. Now these things been changed. Now this is the way that we work here in the coding part. Value labels, values. Then simply I'll click on OK, and here now this variable is coded. SPSS will now identify if you type 0 in this data view, SPSS will recognize that you want to say that that respondent is male. If you will press 1, SPSS will understand that you want to say that respondent is female. So that is the way SPSS is going to work with. Now what is missing? Missing if there is some particular data in which there are some cells which are missing, and if you will go with those missing cells, then it may lead you to some different results, some complicated results or some wrong results. To avoid that, whenever we enter our data, usually there are some cells which cells are blank cells. Fine. So in those blank cells you should put some extraordinary number, like here we have used 999. What does that mean? If I type 999 in that particular cell, then SPSS will recognize that cell as a missing value and it will not consider for the statistical treatment, and SPSS will consider only those values which are entered properly. Missing values we have defined here as a 999. You can use any other number, but it should be a very odd number. It should not be a relevant number from your data. Fine. So that is the why missing value works here. Missing value at preliminary level, it is not required. Here we are just trying to understand that how we define. So which part is important? Name, then the label and the value. This part is very important. This type and measure. If you are comfortable with all these 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 things, then that's enough at preliminary level. Fine. Now let me take you all to further. Now fine. Column is nothing but, like, suppose here is 8, one number 8. Now I'll go here in data view. You can see that gender. You can see the space. Fine. Now again I'll go to variable view, and if I now change the number column, that is 16, and again I go to data view, you can see that the gap, the distance, now it has increased. So what is column? Column means the length of column that they are saying. So this is not again a difficult part. Alignment, right, center, left, whatever it is, whatever number you will enter into data view, what should be the location of that? Whether you want your numbers on the left side of that particular column or in the middle or on the right. So that is the part with the alignment, and then this is very important thing. Here if I have typed gender, I'll have to define that what type of this variable is, that is nominal. Usually in SPSS there are the variables that S.P.S.S identifies it automatically. So here also S.P.S.S has identified, yes, it is nominal, but however I'll click on the nominal and I have defined it. Role, here the variable which we are defining, actually we are going to input, we are going to add this, so I'll click on input. Fine. Now I'm going to define the other variable, and the other variable is ordinal. Now we have seen that how can we enter nominal variable. Now let's see how can we enter ordinal. Simply satisfaction I have typed. Then I'll go to type. What type of it is? Satisfaction. If you remember, in the previous lecture we have seen that we have already allocated codes, and we are going to enter this data here in SPSS. That is why this becomes numeric. This becomes numeric. So select this numeric. Fine. Then satisfaction level of purchase goods, detail name that I have mentioned here. Then I'll go to codes value. I'll click here. As I click here, I'll have to define all these things. Very satisfied, satisfied. I should assign codes. I should assign codes. This is very important part. Once I assign the codes, then I'll have to click OK. And then I should go to measures. What type of variable it is? Now you can see, you can observe, this is numeric. When I'm saying satisfaction is numeric and this is coded data, the basic characteristics of this is qualitative, but we have assigned some codes and we entered this data using these numbers. That is why this is a numeric data. But here in the measure, now they are asking us whether it is scale, ordinal or nominal. SPSS has identified it by default scale, but this is this a scale data? Is this a scale data? This is not scale data. We are going to enter these numbers. That doesn't mean that is a scale data. This is ordinal data, because as a researcher, I know that this one number actually I have assigned this number for very satisfied, to satisfied, neutral. That is why this is ordinal data. So sometimes SPSS also commits some mistake. So you should be very careful. You know your variable. According to your variable, you should have to opt for this ordinal. So here I am going to opt this ordinal, and here is the ordinal. Now I'll go to age. Now how I am going to get responses? I am going to get responses here in numeric sense. Then age of the respondent is the label, and here is the measure. See, unknown. Now a very interesting thing. See, as I mentioned earlier, whenever you are having some scale variable, I'll recommend that you should collect the scale data first. Once you collected the scale data, you should enter all that data in the SPSS in numeric form, whatever is the actual data. There is really no need to go here for the categories. No need. Don't do anything here. Simply write your data, type your data in the SPSS, and then you go here in the measure and just click on scale. So here is your scale data. Now suppose you want to give some different treatment on the categorical coded data, then you can code here age C, no problem, and it will be again numeric, and here will be the title, no problem. You should click here, go here 1 2 3 4 5, whatever your categories are, like 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and this part already we have already mentioned in the previous lecture. Fine, add all these codes here, and then it becomes what type of data? What type of data it will become? Scale or ordinal? It will be kind of ordinal data. You will have to define it like ordinal. If you go with scale, no problem. If you are typing here like this is scale, SPSS has no problem at all. SPSS has no issues at all. It will compute considering its scale. But it is up to you as a researcher. You should know what type of variable you are going to add in this SPSS, and what type of this variable is. You are going to define it. You are going to define it here in this variable view, and this is the most important part. If you are missing this part, then you are going with the wrong things. You are going with the wrong things, and you will get confusing results. Fine. So here are the nominal, ordinal, and scale data. Now I have clicked here on the data. Now this part is over. Fine. I have clicked here on data view, and now here I am on the new screen, and here is a gender, satisfaction and age. You can see that these pictures, they are representing that respect to measurement scale. Now simply I am going to type my data. So I have typed here 0, 4.00, 25, 27.0. What happened? When I am typing here data, I understand that 0 is, say, that male. But what is 4.00? Why 0.00 appeared here? To understand this, again I will go here on the variable view. Many times it happens. In initial phase, it happens that some part that by default it appears. Then I'll go here in decimal and I'll make it 0, because there is really no need of the decimal, because my variable is not like that. Well, unnecessary things you should avoid. So I make it 0. Both the things I make it 0. Again, you should check all the details very carefully, whether all things are there in proper sense. Fine. And then I'll click on data view, and you can see that now that 0.00 is not there. A pure data is ready. And then we are ready to proceed for statistical treatment. So what so far we covered? Simply, first part, we went to variable view. We defined our variable. Then we came back here on the data view and we entered our data using simple keyboard. Fine. So this is the way manually we enter data. Now let me take you further. Now this data we can export in Excel. We can convert this data to Excel also. How to do that? Simply go here to file, click on export and go to Excel, click on Excel. It will take you to the location. Then you will have to identify location and save Excel file there in that particular location. Fine. Now how to import data in SPSS? In the previous slides we have seen that how to enter data manually. Now here we'll see that how to import data in SPSS. To import data in SPSS, this is simple process. Suppose I'm having one sheet with me, MS Excel sheet with me, and I just want to import it. How to import? Simply you will have to go here. First open SPSS, then go here in the file, and here is the import file. Simply click on import. Simply click on Excel. So if I click on Excel, a new pop-up window appears. Now here choose your location. Look into where to look into. If I know that my file is there on the desktop, I will choose desktop. If it is somewhere else, then I'll have to choose that respective place. Now here on the desktop, here is a untitled one, and that file, suppose I want to import here, I'll click on this. And before that, always take care of this files of type. Sometimes it happens that by default here is a CSV files, and if SPSS is showing CSV files, these files they don't appear here because they are .xls file. So you will have to click here and you will have to select this. Once you select this, automatically all these Excel files appears, and then you have to select your that respective file and simply then click on open. When you click on open, here is one important thing that see, read variable names from the first row of the data, and that is the reason since beginning we are typing our data, means in the first row we are typing our variables. That is the reason that we are typing variable names in the first row. One more thing, when we are typing variable names in the MS Excel first row, you should avoid giving space, you should avoid using number in first instance. Fine. You should just name your variables in a continuous kind of form. You should not write like gender of respondent. No, just gender, and don't start with like one gender because this is question number 1. No, it will not consider here in the SPSS. Simply make it gender, income, height, whatever it is. Fine. So that is the way you should go with. So read variable names from the first row, and it should be clicked here. If it is deselected, sometimes you should select this, and then you will have to click here on the OK. Now if I press here on OK, my data is here, my complete data which is there in MS Excel, it gets converted here in SPSS. So this is the way that we import. But once we import, that's not enough. Once your data is here, directly don't go for the statistical treatment. This part is very important. Which part? Variable view. First, you should click here on the variable view. So I'm going to click here. As I click on the variable view, you can see that the imported data, that's fine that the data is there, but you will have to check all required fields. You will have to check whether gender is string, nominal, that's fine. Label is not there, you will have to define. See, coding is also missing. So you will have to click here and define codes. Again, satisfaction, it is numeric, that is fine. Label, give name here. Again, codes are missing, give codes, clicking here. And see here, SPSS has considered it as a nominal. This is not nominal. You will have to go here and you will have to redefine it. It is an ordinal thing. Age, this is numeric, give here name. There is no need of value because that is continuous data that we are going to consider, and a scale. Fine, that's fine with you. Then once you made all necessary changes, then again verify and go back to data view, and then you can proceed for the statistical treatment. So this is the way that we enter our data. We give codes to our data in SPSS. So I hope you all are comfortable with now this process and you enjoyed this lecture. So far this lecture is concerned, we'll stop here. See you soon in the next lecture. Thank you.